How's it going? And welcome back to another bonus episode of Mood for Feud. I'm your host Katya, and today I am in the mood for news. We are going to go through some trending topics of the week, starting off with the ASAP Rocky trial. Then we'll talk about the Mikaela Testa and Atis Paul feud that's been playing out, and we'll finish up with some light-hearted Demi and Andrew Garfield rumours. Remember, if you enjoy the show and would like to support it, then please do leave a rating. You can leave a comment on Spotify, written review on Apple Podcast, and you can follow the show so you never miss an episode. I'm also on socials at Mood for Feud, and I'm always looking to chat pop culture, so send me a message there. Okay, I know that last week we had a Mood for News, so this week should have technically been a Feud episode, but I am going on holiday for a week, which is really nice, but it does mean that I have to batch all my episodes and kind of record them way in advance, and that works fine for the Feud episodes. But when we're talking about trending topics, like if this came out 2 weeks from now, you'd be like, why is she talking about news from the 1800s? So I think it will be better to have this one come out this week and then the one that I've already recorded, the Feud episode, will be out next week. And do you know what? I was looking through the topics that we're talking about today, and I was like, these are all, well, -1, these are all feuds anyway, so we are on theme. Also, don't forget that we do these Mood for News episodes every fortnight, so if there's ever a trending topic that you want me to discuss, don't be shy, put some more, send it through, and I will talk about it. Okay, let's start with the ASAP Rocky trial. So ASAP Rocky's trial started Friday 24th of Jan, and this is following an incident from 2021 between ASAP Rocky and ASAP Rally. This is going to get really confusing, so I think I will just call them Rocky and Rally so that we don't get mixed up with all the ASAPs thrown around. So Rocky and Rally, they've known each other since high school, and they were also both part of the ASAP group, which is why they both have ASAP in front of their name, obviously. And even though Rocky and Rally have been friends for literally decades, in October 2021, they did get into a bit of some tension because when ASAP Josh passed away, Rocky promised his mom that he was going to help out with the funeral costs. For some reason, Rally thought that Rocky didn't actually pay this money, so he was obviously really pissed off about it. Also, I guess for context, out of everyone in the ASAP group, which I think there's like over 10 of them, ASAP Rocky probably went the furthest in his career. Like, he ended up being the best off out of all of them, I guess, which is why Rally is so pissed when he thinks that Rocky hasn't paid for ASAP Josh's funeral after promising to do that, because it's like he has the cash to spare. I mean, ASAP Rocky's literally with Rihanna, who's a billionaire, so you know, he's got the means to do this. So because he thought that Rocky hadn't paid for the funeral, he sends a message to him saying, "You're so fucking fake, it's sad." Now it turns out that Rocky had actually paid the funeral costs, and I don't know, some wires got crossed. I don't know what went wrong there, the miscommunication, but this stirred some tension, I guess. Or this is where everyone starts the story. But I feel like there's been tension bubbling between the two for some time. Like, I don't think this was the one inciting incident. I feel like, you know, maybe they've been disagreeing a bit or beefing a little bit already, and then this was just the last straw type thing. But Rocky invites Rally to a hotel in Hollywood in November, kind of on the basis that they should talk it out, they should have a conversation, like get together and just work everything out. And ASAP Ills and ASAP 12V, no idea who they are, but they are also there. I'm assuming they're also part of the ASAP mob. I'm not gonna lie, my knowledge of the like ASAP, Ferg, Rocky, whatever, all the ASAPs basically, I only really know ASAP Rocky and then like ASAP Ferg because of one song. I'm sorry if people are like, how does she not know ASAP 12e? But like, truly, this is the first time I'm reading this name. Yeah, they go to talk. Again, not sure if it's like still about the funeral thing, because it sounds like that all got cleared up. But I guess conversation kind of gets heated, turns ugly, whatever. Rocky pulls out a gun and presses it into Raleig's chest. This is according to Raleigh. Raleigh claims that Rocky went to leave, like, you know, they're fighting. He goes to walk away, but Raleigh's like, no, we need to talk, you know, things out. I'm trying to express to you how I've been feeling. And he's kind of saying that a lot of their friends have been feeling some type of way towards Rocky, but like no one's had the guts to say it. And he was like, no, you know what, fuck it, I am just gonna like speak my truth right now. And then Raleigh claims that this really pissed Rocky off, and he turned around, aimed the gun at Raleigh and fired 4 shots. Now, Raleigh claims that one of these bullets grazed his knuckles and injured his hand, but thankfully he was otherwise unharmed. And there is actually footage of the altercation, so we do know at least, like, it is proven that all these people were actually in this one place on that night, and we do see an altercation between Rocky and Raleigh, and we can see that Rocky has a gun, but we don't actually see the like shooting take place. That must have happened off camera somehow, I don't know. And then there is also a second video where you can hear gunshots being fired, but again you can't see like Rocky or the gun, or it's all a bit weird. It's like everything got captured except for the thing that needed to be captured, it seems like. So based on this, ASAP Rocky is facing 2 counts of felony assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and the prosecution is arguing that Rocky invited Raleigh to, you know, meet him at the hotel, whatever, with the intention of shooting him. So they're kind of going for the like premeditated angle, trying to argue that, you know, there was a bit of tension between them off the back of that funeral miscommunication. Maybe even some other stuff has been happening in the background, and this is why Rocky invited Raleigh over and basically wanted to get one over him with the gun. I will say it is kind of weird to me, like, if you are meeting your friend or even someone who used to be your friend and you've had a bit of bad blood and now you're trying to hash things out, why would you bring a gun? And like, I know you have like the right to bear arms or whatever in that country, but it's just so strange to me, like, that you would bring... Why did he bring a gun to a knife fight? But even less than that, why did he bring a gun to the conversation? Rocky has pled not guilty at the initial hearing, which I think was end of 2023. And he also refused the plea deal that had been offered to him, which was a 6-month jail sentence. If he is found guilty at the hearing, he could face up to 24 years, which is obviously a whole lot more than 6 months. So I feel like to turn down that plea deal, you would have to feel pretty confident because, you know, obviously half a year in jail is still super tits and like it's not going to be a great time, to say the least. But he does have a young child with Rihanna that he needs to think about, and I feel like 24 years in jail when you have a young child versus like 6 months, like that's a massive difference. So the fact that he like turned that down, I feel like means he's confident in his defense. I'm sure Riri is hiring him the best lawyers that there are. But yeah, okay, let's take a look into what the defense's arguments are. So they're kind of saying that Raleigh is just after money. He's basically just fabricated this whole thing to try and get some cash. And first of all, I love how this is always the very first defense claim. Whenever someone with money gets accused of anything, it's always like, oh, the accuser just wants my money. Like every single time. We saw that so many times with the Diddy situation, and I feel like we're seeing it again here. And yeah, I don't know, I just find that interesting. They do also go on to say that the gun that you can see in the footage that Rocky was carrying that day was actually a prop gun, and they say that this gun cannot fire ammunition and that Rocky's security team basically encourages him to carry this prop gun around just in case, you know, he's obviously like high profile celeb. If someone tries to mess with him or tries to attack him or whatever, then he can like pull out this fake gun to scare them off. Which, like, I guess that kind of makes sense to me, but then also it doesn't at all. I don't know. Is that a good idea? I'm not sure, because my fear as a like high profile A-list celeb whatever is that I see like a crazy fan running towards me who I think's potentially going to harm me. My fear is that I pull out my little prop gun and the crazy person pulls out a real gun. Like what doesn't like pulling out a gun maybe make the other person also pull out a gun? I'm not sure. I'm not brushed up on like gun etiquette, because in my country, if you pulled up to a conversation with your friend and you had a gun, you'd go to prison. So I really can't relate to these situations. So it is strange. And then the other thing is like, okay, well, if it's a fake gun, then why did you even like press that into Raleig's chest? Like, was he trying to make his friend scared? Would his friend not know that Rocky carries a fake gun? Yeah, I don't know. I have so many questions, and I cannot even begin to tell you how frustrating it is that the footage that we have just like conveniently shows us nothing. Okay, now here are some other odd things that the defense team have brought up. So Raleigh didn't immediately go to the hospital with his injuries. He actually waited till he was back in New York, and then he went to hospital with his hand injury. Now, I guess if I have to like, you know, play both sides, it sounds like it was maybe bad, but not like life-threatening. Like if he's using the words that, you know, the bullet grazed his hand, then I'm kind of like, it might have been one of those things where you think it's going to be okay, and then after a few days it's like looking worse, or it still really hurts, and then you decide to go to the hospital. But it's not like he got shot square in the chest, which is like obviously an immediate trip to hospital. I'm not sure. So that's something the defense is pulling up, you know, why did he wait? Why didn't he go to the hospital immediately if the injuries were so bad? Why did he also not report the whole incident until 2 days later? And then another strange thing is that authorities were called to the scene in 2021, which I'm like, I wonder why, especially if Raleigh didn't report the incident until 2 days later. And also there was like nothing in the press about this like shooting at all. So I'm not really too sure. But then there is that video where you can hear the gunshots. So, you know, potentially someone in the area heard gunshots, called the police. They arrive to the scene and they do like a sweep, and they don't find any shell casings. But Raleigh actually finds 2 shell casings when he returns to the scene at a later time. And these are the same casings that he submitted like along with his report of the shooting. So yeah, it is really strange. Rocky has also previously been charged with abuse in Sweden. He got into like a brawl with his entourage. They like brawled with a 19-year-old, him and his whole entourage, and then they tried to claim that it was self-defense, which then of course the court was like, no, but apparently the brawl wasn't like really bad enough to serve any jail time, so he was released. But yeah, so you know, he's got that in his background, I guess. I'm honestly not too sure where I sit with this one. I mean, I'm sure more information will come to light in the next couple weeks. I think the trial's meant to last like 3 weeks, and Raleigh will take the stand and will kind of be like a key witness, I guess, in the trial. I'm not sure if Rocky's going to take the stand. I haven't seen that written anywhere. People are also like, is Rihanna going to show up to court? And at first when Rocky's attorneys were asked this, they were saying no, that Rocky's very much wanting to keep his family out of this, which I was like, that's a smart idea, because you're just going to turn this into like a whole frenzy if Rihanna shows up. But just today, or maybe like late last night, TMZ reported that Rihanna was going to attend the trial today. So yeah, I don't know, this hasn't happened so far, but it is still, you know, morning time in the US, so we shall see. By the time I post this, we will know whether that rumor was true. Future me, was that rumor true or not? But yeah, I think that's an odd move. I think it's just going to generate a lot of like frenzy and hype around this. And in all honesty, I actually haven't seen that many people talking about this trial on my socials. Maybe it's just my For You page. It heard me say that I was over legal documents, and it was like, cool, we're gonna shadow ban anything to do with the justice system. But definitely if she does show up in court, like, that's gonna be everywhere. That's gonna be on the news. So I don't know, maybe that'll work in their favor. Apparently the jury did get asked as part of their like screening questions whether they knew about ASAP Rocky, knew Rihanna, and whether they owned any of Rihanna's brands, like any Fenty beauty products. I was like, well, that just discounts anyone between the age of like 18 and 40, like immediately. I feel like all of those generations for sure know Rihanna and have at least at one point in their life purchased something from Fenty. I mean, come on, whether it's like a pair of undies or a lip liner or what, but you know, or even like have watched her Fenty show. So yeah, it is interesting in cases like this. I'm always like, how do they find jurors who, you know, aren't all just like in their 80s, who can judge impartially on a case like this? Also no, this is a sidetrack. I'm not going to go into it. I'll just say the concept of a jury is one that I find odd. I'll just leave it at that. We shall see what happens. I mean, obviously if he did shoot at his friend, then like he needs to do some jail time. I don't want this to be the kind of thing where someone shoots at someone and they get let off with like a payout and that's it. Like, I do think, you know, do the crime, do the time, not to be one of those, that sounds really like conservative of me, especially because if anyone else who isn't like high profile like this did that, they would absolutely go to prison. Yeah, we shall see what comes out. I am interested to know if the gun was fake though, because that would really like diminish a lot of these claims that are being made by Raleigh. Well, actually it would diminish all of them. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's talk about Mikaela Testa and Anna Paul, because this came so left field for me. I just did not expect Mikaela Testa to come out with all of this right now. I don't know. I feel like she's been really like toned down and mellowed out on the internet lately. So maybe that was the sign that there was something about to happen. But, you know, she got her engaged a couple months back, and I don't know, she just seemed to be living a happy, quiet, engaged lifestyle. Now, if you haven't already listened, I will recommend checking out the Mikaela Testa and Atis Paul episode that we did. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. We basically went through Mikaela and Atis's entire relationship timeline and some of the controversies between them, but I'll just give a little mini recap in case you have no idea who these people are that I'm talking about. Basically, Anna Paul is a very famous influencer. She's also in the top 1% of Australian OnlyFans creators, so she is incredibly rich. And her brother, Atis Paul, they make a lot of content together, not on OnlyFans, obviously, but just on TikTok. As I said that, I was like, whoa, this is painting the wrong picture. Yeah, they just do a lot of like vlogs. They travel a lot because, again, she's like super wealthy. You know, they go on beautiful holidays, and she's also very well known for being kind of the super like positive, kind, like bestie, big sister, healing energy type of creator. And Mikaela Testa used to date Atis Paul. Oh, honestly, back in when was that? 2021, maybe before that. I think they broke up in like 2022. So they haven't been together for a hot minute now. But every now and then there seems to be these like controversies that happen, because Mikaela will just randomly hop online and be like, all right, I'm done being quiet. I need to spill some secrets. And she'll come out with like a slew of accusations, usually aimed at Atis. And then either the videos get taken down, or a week later she apologizes and says she got it all wrong, or I don't know. There's always these like little weird things that come up. And yeah, if you want to know more about those, do check out the episode that I just mentioned, because we did run through all of them. But the interesting thing about Mikaela is that in all of this, in all of her beefs with Atis and all of her like tea spilling about Atis, she has never once dragged Anna's name. Not once. And this is really interesting because, you know, obviously Anna and Atis, super close siblings. Anna and Mikaela were very close when Mikaela was dating Atis, but obviously they don't like hang out now. But she's never had a bad thing to say about Anna. Like, she's gone on podcasts talking about how her and Anna are sisters and they always will be. She's shown support for Anna in comment sections and, you know, still follows her on everything. Anna will also comment quite often on Mikaela's content saying, "You look gorgeous," blah blah blah. The two are always like incredibly civil, and like even beyond that, they're like more than civil. They act like friends, even though you'd never see them hanging out in real life. But for all intents and purposes, even any time that Mikaela makes a kind of expose video about Atis, she always says like, this has nothing to do with Anna. Like, she always leaves Anna out of it, except for this week. This week she decided it was Anna's turn. And it all started earlier this week. Anna posted an Instagram story. It had a link to an adult content site. I'm actually unclear if it was a link to her OnlyFans or if it was a link to like a separate adult entertainment site that like she herself owns. I've seen people say both. I've seen people say like it was a link to Anna's website, and then I've also seen people say it was a link to her OnlyFans, and I am confused about that because even though I did see the story, I just didn't click on the link. It didn't entice me enough. But either way, I guess it doesn't really matter. The point is, Anna posted an Instagram story with a link to a platform that has her adult content on it, and she kind of said like, I'll be doing a surprise on there later. And then a couple hours later, she started sharing screenshots to her Instagram stories, and it was showing her like giving money away to people who had recently subscribed to her website. So she was basically saying like, I'm doing a cash giveaway, and all of the giveaways that she kind of screenshotted of her like transferring, you know, $200, $500 up to $1,000 to different people kind of made it sound like the people had just signed up, like they were new subscribers. And she has done cash giveaways of this nature in the past before. Like, I recall around when the pandemic was happening and a lot of people were struggling financially and not being able to work and yada yada, she did post a TikTok saying like, please like DM me, reach out if you need financial support, and I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to give as much money away as I can. And she did. She posted a lot of screenshots of her, you know, sending people from her DMs money just like straight into their bank account. And I guess the key difference between all of those times that she's done it that way and this time is that this time, to be part of the cash giveaway, you had to subscribe to her website. So you had to, you know, give money first before you were going to be eligible to receive money. And this is the first time that I've seen her do this type of cash giveaway. Normally the ones I see are her just on a free platform saying like, send me a message, you know, which anyone can do without paying money. And so this does kind of muddy the waters a bit, because if you have to give up some of your own money to enter, quote unquote, this cash giveaway, then rather than it just being a straight up random lucky winner cash giveaway, now you've got essentially like a lottery. And this is what Mikaela was calling out. She started with an Instagram story that said, if you have to incentivize people to buy your exclusive website by running cash giveaways on there and then posting screenshots to your Instagram so your underage followers spend $10 to hopefully win $1,000, you're basically running an illegal lottery and taking advantage of children. It's gross. Now, the claims about children, like Anna encouraging children to go to her explicit content, this comes from the fact that a lot of Anna's fans tend to skew young. And we know this because whenever she does like a meet and greet or a Paulie skincare pop-up, you know, you look at the crowd, there's a lot of teens, there's a lot of high schoolers. She'll repost a lot of, you know, high schoolers who make Anna Paul shrines in their classrooms. Like, she is someone who appeals a lot to the younger audience. And this is actually a point of controversy that people have brought up a lot in internet discourse, and one that I still haven't quite decided which side of the fence I sit on, because a lot of people will call out the fact that Anna has so many young followers, and she is of course a sex worker, and so people are kind of saying like, you're promoting sex work to underage people, because we see Anna's lavish lifestyle that she can afford because of her OnlyFans. Like, and she's very transparent about the fact that her money comes from OnlyFans. She always talks about how poor she was growing up, and that she basically like turned her life around with this career. And, you know, some people have said like, oh, I was talking to my niece or my sister or my, you know, whoever who's in high school, and they were saying, I can't wait to turn 18 because I want to do OnlyFans. And this is where like the argument around ethics and morals and whatnot gets really like muddied for me, because I'm, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, I can see how, like, I'm not shaming sex work, but it is like psychologically incredibly difficult, right? There's like a lot you have to deal with. And so ideally it's for people of a maturer age, I guess, who are able to navigate that. And if at 14 you're already deciding like, when I grow up I want to be a sex worker, like there's going to be some tricky implications to navigate around that. But then also, is Anna Paul their mom? Like, no, it's not her job to like to shelter children. I don't know. It's a really odd issue. It's like, it's one of those 21st century issues that we probably don't even have the tools to like unpack and analyze, because even if you go back 50 years, there's not going to be an issue like this. Yeah, it is a bit strange. That's where the claim about like exploiting children comes from. I don't actually think she has ever like blatantly encouraged kids to go to her adult content. Like, I don't think that's ever been the case. Mikaela then also posted a second Instagram story saying, stop using and manipulating less fortunate people into sending you their last $10 because you're promising the chance at more. I've had enough, and I wish more people called a spade for a spade. This is exploitation. And I do kind of see where she's coming from, because again, it's like, it's the fact that people have to spend money to hopefully make money. I thought Mikaela was going to leave it at that. To be honest, I was already shocked that she called out Anna's behavior like this so publicly, because like I said, historically, she's always left Anna out of it. And then late last night, Mikaela uploaded a 9-minute TikTok video. She made so many claims in this. We're going to go through them all. She starts by saying, you don't know Anna like I do. You don't know the real Anna Paul. You only know her online persona, which is true. Like, I absolutely agree that Mikaela would have a better insight into, you know, who Anna Paul is when the camera isn't rolling or when she's not out in public, you know? She goes on to accuse Anna of being fake and manipulative. She says Anna's very calculated, and that she basically puts on this fake persona because she knows it generates views and it generates a healthy following, but that the truth is that this is all completely fake, and like the quote-unquote real Anna couldn't be further from this. She tells a story from 2021 where her, Anna, and Atis were out for a walk, and a plus-sized fan approached Anna. And I guess for context, Anna has always been incredibly like body positive on her channel. She's always talking about, you know, loving yourself and all bodies are beautiful. And a lot of people with disordered eating have said that Anna's videos help them because she always shows herself, you know, eating food. And she had like a very famous TikTok go viral where she was talking about, you don't have to earn food. Food is not something you have to deserve. It's just something that you should have. Like all these like really positive, body positive, food positive, whatever messages. But here Mikaela says that in 2021 they were out for a walk. A plus-sized fan approached them, asked Anna Paul for a hug and a picture, whatever. She says Anna did all that, you know, told the fan she loves her, and that after the fan left, she turned to Atis and said that was disgusting. She didn't want to hug that person because she thought they might be sweaty, and she called the fan annoying. She goes on to say that her performative generosity, where she's, you know, hiding cash throughout grocery stores and doing these cash giveaways, is basically completely dystopian and out of touch. She says it's a power move and claims that Anna just enjoys watching people like fight to get some money from her while she is like out living a pretty luxurious lifestyle. And I will say, you know, she travels a lot. She has a lot of cars. She has a lot of designer things. Like, she does live incredibly well compared to what an average person's lifestyle would look like. And she again expresses her distaste in the fact that Anna basically ran like an illegal lottery. Mikaela goes on to say that she is really bothered by the rumors that pop up. Basically, anytime she tries to speak out about the Paul family, people will say she's only saying this to get Atis's attention because she's still obsessed with him and that she still wants to get back together with him. She completely denies this, says it's incredibly untrue. She's also engaged, as I mentioned, so you'd hope that that's not true. It would be pretty bad to get engaged to someone if you were still like this level of obsessed with your ex from 4 years ago. She also says that she initiated the breakup and that it was her choice to cut contact with Atis, and claimed that Atis tried to reach out to her multiple times. And then Mikaela says that aside from a very few amount of videos at the beginning of the breakup, everything else she documented about her breakup with Atis since then was exaggerated content that she made up for views and engagement because the content always did really well. And again, we ran through some of that post-breakup content that she was pumping out, and there was a lot of it. She spoke at length, ad nauseum, about how much this breakup had impacted her, how sad it had made her, the fact that it was messing with her health. You know, she talked about stalking Atis and all of these stories about her heartbreak and stuff. And now she's saying that was all exaggerated for views, which isn't, I guess, out of the realms of possibility. But I think it does really hark back to something that I said in the Mikaela and Atis episode, which is that she is such an unreliable narrator, and you can't ever take anything she says without at least a little grain of salt, which is so frustrating because she does have a lot to say and she was so close to that family. If anyone was going to be able to speak out if they were doing dodgy shit, it's her. And yet all the stories we hear about Atis and Anna and the family, whatever, have to be filtered through someone who very openly admits that they lie on the internet for views. It's fine. Like, I'm not even against lying on the internet. Like, whatever. If that's how you want to get engagement and get your bag, then go for it. But like, it's really tricky to, in the same sentence where you're saying, in the past I've lied on the internet, but also this time I am actually telling the truth. Like, it's just, as a viewer, I mean, what do you make with that, you know? She does also go on to say that although she's pretty much never spoken truthfully on the internet in the past, she will be, from now on, only posting truthful content. Again, what a paradoxical statement, because it's like, well, are you lying right now? Like, it's so hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is interesting because ever since her breakup with Atis, she has only ever said nice things about Anna, and it's just weird to think that actually this entire time she was harboring these like really bad feelings about her, going right back to 2021 when she witnessed Anna being rude to a plus size fan behind their back. It is such a tricky situation, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I have no idea what I'm meant to believe. And then she goes on to make some pretty scary and serious claims about Atis that I definitely don't want to outright discredit, but she does claim that Atis would physically abuse her whenever she tried to leave him, and would also threaten to hurt himself and manipulate her into staying. She also says that Atis had rape allegations from his ex, which we did cover in the last episode, and she says that even at the time while she was with Atis, she believed the victim and even sent her messages of support. And of course, like, again, I don't want to discredit her claims around this. I think this is a very sensitive topic. I almost feel like this isn't putting it into the same video where she's like, this person's fake on the internet, oh, and their brother like horrifically abused me. Like, it's not, I don't know, the two things in my mind should not be in the same video. But anyway, she also goes on to say that Atis took 50% of her earnings, which lines up with stuff she's told us in the past when they were together, on the basis that he was her manager, but he basically like did nothing. So it was like giving away her money to him. And then she also says that she still to this day thinks that he is the one who stole money from her crypto wallet, even though back when this happened last year, she ended up coming online apologizing to Atis and saying that it was a scammer, it wasn't actually him. So yeah, I found that interesting that she brought up the crypto thing again, because that was kind of something that she backtracked on, but here she's saying that like she still thinks it was actually Atis. She just had to backtrack because she didn't have the evidence she needed to like make these claims publicly. She goes on to say that Anna and Atis exaggerate how poor they grew up. This is something that we talked about last time as well. This is something that a lot of people have kind of raised their eyebrows at in the internet. You know, how poor were they really? Because she tells some pretty like low-key disturbing stories of their upbringing, you know, where they couldn't afford food or they didn't really have somewhere solid to live. Like her upbringing makes it sound like they were well into like the poverty line of financial situation, which is why a lot of people root for her, even though now she lives this like lavish, rich lifestyle. It's because, you know, she deserves it, or like this is her retribution for having to grow up so poor. Mikaela claims that their dad would actually make about triple the average income of an Australian, and that they grew up incredibly financially stable. She says that she has seen the family home where they grew up. It came with an inbuilt pool, it like overlooked the river, and it was like a beautiful home. She also says that Anna's dad has called Anna out in the past for making content about growing up poor because it's upsetting to him and he doesn't understand why she would fabricate this lifestyle. And then she also says that she has a bunch more stories to tell if people are willing to hear them, basically. So yeah, there's more where that came from, allegedly. Now, interestingly, Veruca Salt, another content creator, also piped up and showed support for Mikaela on her Instagram story. Yeah, I'm not going to read her whole statement out. It is incredibly long, but she basically supports everything that Mikaela says. She says that Anna stole literal pieces of Mikaela's life story and Mikaela's morals and sold it as her own. So she's kind of arguing all the things you love about Anna is actually authentically Mikaela. She also supports Mikaela that Anna's poverty stories or growing up, you know, incredibly poor, that they're all fake. And she also says that Anna is manipulative. Now, something that I didn't cover in the Mikaela and Atis episode, because it hadn't happened yet, is the fact that Veruca also had her own controversy with the Paul family, because she made claims that Anna's dad was actually homeless and that Anna didn't give him any money, and that all the stuff we saw her provide for her dad, you know, all the trips to Europe, all the gifts and expensive clothing she buys him is only for views, but that in reality her dad lives in a van and basically like can't afford to support himself. Now, Anna's dad around this time did make a statement saying like, this is all completely untrue. Me and my daughter have a great relationship. I choose to live in a van because that's just always been my dream. It has nothing to do with me being homeless. Which, like, again, that's fine, that's his prerogative. But what's so annoying about this is, like, the two people who are coming out being like, absolutely 100%, this is all facts, are someone who's repeatedly lied on the internet and someone who's in the past lied about Anna and her family. And I'm just like, where are the, like, people with a better track record? Why can't they come forward? And I guess by that, I'm really just talking about Anna's ex-boyfriend, Glenn. Why can't Glenn enter the chat and just clear some shit up for us? Because he has managed to stay radio silent ever since breaking up with Anna. He has never once said anything. She did buy him like a super expensive car after they were already broken up, which a lot of people are like, that was hush money. But I feel like he's kind of the only person who can come out and corroborate Veruca and Mikaela's claims, because we have to take everything that these two say with such a massive grain of salt, which is so frustrating, because it's like, I don't even think it's that difficult to believe that Anna Paul isn't this like perfect, beautiful, amazing creator that we all think she is. We saw with the US TikTok ban, a bunch of creators lie on the internet all the time for engagement and whatnot. So like, why would she be any different? I wouldn't even be that shocked by it. But the issue is, I can't even fully form an opinion on all of this because it's coming from people who are unreliable, and it's frustrating. I'm really hoping that more comes from this, because otherwise this is just going to be another like random Paul family controversy that just gets lost in the ether. And of course, Anna hasn't said anything about this. She hasn't commented on this. This is really her whole like PR strategy. Anytime there's any controversy around her and her family, she stays so silent. And I mean, so far it's worked great for her. I mentioned in the last episode that she's like one of the only influencers I know that has never been like properly cancelled before. She's gotten close a couple times, but it's never like fully tipped over the scales to the point where everyone is against her. And I honestly think part of that is just because she just stays quiet and she waits for the next news story to divert everyone's attention again. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see if more comes from this. I'm messy, so I'm kind of like, Mikaela, release more stories. And like, even if they are just stories, I'm always here for a bit of snark, a bit of tea. But did I not say that 2025 was going to be the year where people expose shit? Like, we are already seeing it, and it is January. Okay, before we wrap up, let's end on a bit of a nicer story. I thought I would give a little update on the Andrew Garfield and Demi Moore rumors. Demi Moore is in her Babygirl era. Basically what happened is Andrew Garfield presented Demi with the Golden Globe after she won the award for Best Female Actor for her work in The Substance. This is also her first major acting award, which I was like, that is wild, because she has been pumping out bangers and, you know, the most iconic movie roles since the 80s. Also, side note, if I look like her at 62, I will literally never, ever complain about anything ever again. So, just putting that out there. Now, he presented her with the award, and people, you know, they noticed a bit of chemistry. Also, Andrew Garfield was on one that night. Like, he's been someone who people have been, like, hyping up and thirsting over literally since I've been on the internet. And I've never really got it. I never got the hype, you know. I watched The Amazing Spider-Man or whatever. Was like, meh, doesn't do it for me. I know him and Emma Stone had that whole relationship that everyone loved, and, you know, it was super, they were like one of the Tumblr couples. Didn't do it for me. Why did I suddenly like see what everyone else was seeing from the Golden Globes clips? What was he on? It's like he swallowed some like magic potion that just boosted his charm by like 6,000%. It was crazy. Anyway, he's like presenting her the award, you know, he looks flirty. I don't know how to describe it, but they make sense. And seeing them up there, I was like, I get the vision. Like I said, we're in the Babygirl era. I wouldn't actually mind some more like healthy, appropriate age gap relationships where the woman is older. So yeah, I'm here for it. I ship it. Now, this whole relationship rumor is kind of based on just that one interaction that I just described, and like a couple of pictures of them hugging, and like two really unreliable claims that people have seen them, which were posted on Dumois. So we are working with breadcrumbs here, but you know what? I'm a believer in manifestation, and I am gonna manifest this because I actually think that'd be a really fun couple to see out and about. I mean, Demi Moore, stunning, gorgeous. I think she's really funny. I think she's like really witty as well though. And then Andrew Garfield, super charming. And I'm so here for like not aging women out of Hollywood. And if she can at 62, you know, date this like really popular famous heartthrob that has been a heartthrob for the last decade, then by all means I am here for it. Good for you. I hope we get more content from them. I hope we get more sightings, maybe a little Do you know what I hope for? I hope for a paparazzi shot of them making out in a car. That is what I want. Like, I want something like filthy like that. You know, I don't want them like sitting at a restaurant eating lunch together. I don't want them walking down the street holding hands. Like, no, I need it to be in the car, make out sesh, blurry as fuck paparazzi shot. That is what I'm manifesting for these two. We shall see. We shall see if my wishes get granted. That is all I have for this week's episode. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast if you enjoy the show. And please feel free to leave a written review. I love my words of affirmation. And you can connect with me on socials at Mood for Feud. I hope everyone is crushing their goals this week. And of course, keeping out of trouble. Don't get into any feuds. And I will talk to you all next week. Bye!